friend, Alemu Tebeje, who I just wanted to say, I met by accident really, because I was trying to find out about Ethiopian poetry, and I came across the name of Tebeje Chris, who at that time was a big famous Ethiopian poet. But there's another Tebeje Chris, who was also a poet, but was put in prison. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. So he was, and his nickname was Debtero. And so Alemu has this website called Debtero. And so I contacted Alemu saying, I want to know more about Tebeje Chris. And so we went on with this sort of parallel conversation about two different people for quite a long time. But in the end, we sorted it out. And in fact, Tebeje Chris, the poet laureate as he was. Hi, come on in. Tebeje Chris, the poet laureate, I wrote to him, but he didn't reply because he actually did die before he could reply. And Alemu then asked me to read a poem of his at a memorial service in the Irish Centre in Camden Town. And we got chatting, and when was that? 2005? Yeah, so it's more than 10 years ago, and we've been fast friends ever since. We translate a lot of other poets together, and they've been published in many magazines in the UK. And this is about a translator, an activist, somebody who's always doing things for other people, actually having something done for him. And to have a first book of poems out, there are loads of poets here tonight, and we all remember that first book. There's nothing ever like it again. It's really exciting. It's all about Alemu, and about celebrating Alemu's work, but also Alemu as really as a pioneer. And you'll find out more about that in the rest of the evening. So a little bit about Alemu. He's a poet, a journalist, a teacher, social worker, and a human rights campaigner who was forced to leave Ethiopia in the 1990s, in the early 90s, and apply for asylum here in the UK. So now he's a proud British citizen. So what are we going to do this evening? I'm going to say thank you first for coming. Some people have come from a very long way. Mike, my friend Mike, has come from Leeds. The great Hamatuma, who's hiding somewhere here, there, hiding in plain sight, has come from Paris with his lovely wife, Janet. I know a lot of you have come from quite far away, so thank you very much for coming. I also want to thank my partner Isao, because that is another detail of a painting of Isao on the cover. This is our second book that we published, and publishing for me is all about keeping the costs down, obviously, and not having to pay Isao for the cover photo, for the cover image. Thank you very much. He helped me to swear that I would never do that, but anyway. So the format of this evening, first you've got me speaking, then Alemu is going to read the title poem, Greetings to the People of Europe, and hopefully in Amharic and in English. Yeah? Then we've got some of Alemu's friends who will each read one or two poems by Alemu from the book, and then a couple of their own poems as well. But before that, I'm going to read you a couple of tributes, a couple of messages from people who couldn't be here tonight. The first is Sasha Dugdale, who until recently was the editor of Modern Poetry and Translation, and a big fan of Alemu's. So this is what, she's a very well-known poet in the UK. She won the Forward Prize a couple of years ago. Alemu Tebeje has been a part of the MPT community for many years, and through his own poems and his translations with Chris, he has opened a window on Ethiopian poetry. I love his work for its urgency, humanity, playfulness, and despite its realism about the human condition, its essential hope. I wish I could be there at the launch of his first poetry collection, and as it is a really important moment for UK poetry. Writers like Alemu are not sufficiently appreciated by the English language literary establishment. Some very great writers exist apparently out of the field of view of those writing about what happens in so-called British literature. And this book is another small step in changing this situation. One more message, and this time from a very famous and internationally famous American conceptual artist called Jenny Holzer. Jenny chose Greetings from the People of Europe as a poem to project on buildings. That's what she does. She gets commissioned to project text onto buildings around the world. So she chose Greetings, and we thought, oh, is this a hoax? So they contacted me first, and I just thought, oh, what's this about? Anyway, so it seemed to be serious, so we said, okay, fine, go ahead. So they projected Greetings onto, hi, good evening. There's somebody else trying to get in as well, I think. So they projected Greetings to the People of Europe onto the theatre in Aarhus when it was European City of Culture last year. Then it went to an African fashion show in Florence and was projected on the Gritti Palace. Then it went to Massachusetts MoCA, so the Museum of Contemporary Art outside Boston. And finally, it ended up on the walls of Blenheim Palace in Woodstock. And that poem actually, from its humble beginnings, and Alemu, if he comes back, is going to read it for you, actually was seen all over, basically all over the world, and made quite a lot of money for Alemu and for me. So, which is, I'm sure you all know, that's an incredibly unusual event in the poetry world. So, without further ado,
thank you very much, everybody, for coming. I'm a bit nervous, really. Sorry. I would like to say thank you for the organizers, Tamra Tooth and the Anglo-Ethiopian Society. Also, if not for this generous support of friends and colleagues, I wouldn't be here. Especially the Writers Link, Jennifer. She's there, and also the Anglo-Ethiopian Society, the Greenfield Poetry Club, led by Ray, gave me a lot of, and BBC and other forums also really give me opportunity and encourage me to reach out to the English audience. My special thanks to my friend, real friend, Chris. If not for your generous support and encouragement, I wouldn't be able to reach the English audience. Thank you very much, really. You showed to me what friends mean. Oh. And everybody, Hama, the late Gomorrah, and others also encouraged me and show me the way. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to read my poem entitled Greeting to the People of Europe. Actually, I wrote this poem in 2015. If you remember, on the second week of April 2015, more than 800 migrants died in boat disaster on Mediterranean Sea. After that disaster, and inspired by Jomo Kenyatta's speech, Jomo Kenyatta, the first Kenyan president after liberation, who says, when he talks about the arrival of Christianity in Africa, Kenya, he says, when the missionary arrived, the the Africans had the land, and the missionaries had the Bible. They taught us how to pray with our eyes closed. When we opened them, they had the land, and we had the Bible. He said so. And now I am challenging the Europeans who let those Africans died, perished in the Mediterranean Sea. I'm challenging them, saying, ሰላምታ ለኣውሮፓ. I'm going to read it in Amharic first and then in English. ሰላምታ ለኣውሮፓ ሕዝብ አባቶቻችሁ በምድርም በሰማይ አቆራርጠው መጥተው በአፍሪካ መጽሐፍ ቅዱስን በግፍ አሰራጭተው ለቀደምቶቻችን እንደዚህ እያሉ ፍቅር ነበር ሰብከው። ጉንጭን ለሚመታ ደግሞ ሁለተኛውን ስጠው፣ መጓነጸፊያንም ለሚወስድ እጀ ጠባብህን ደግሞ አትከልክለው። አሁንም የእነሱ ልጅ ልጆች እኛ የአባቶቻችሁ ልምድ ወራሽ ሕመምተኛ የሴል የርባት የግፍ ሰለባዎች በአገር ጨቋኝ የዕድሜ ልክ ገዢዎች ባህር አቆራርጠን ባረጁ ጀልባዎች አስፈሪ ማዕበል የተፋ እንግልቶች በጨዋማው ንፋስ በድንበር ጠባቂ ወታደሮቻችሁ በጥፊ ተላክተን መለመላችንን ቆመን ከፊታችሁ ከሞት የተረፍን ይዘው እያወጡ ዘይት እንደገቡ ብርቅ ወፎቻችሁ ይሄው መጨረሻ ማንኳኳት ይዘናል ደርሰን ከበራችሁ የተስፋ ቅራሬ ተስፋ በመሰንቅ እንዳልተረሷችሁ እኒያ የፍቅር ቃላቱ ለኛ አባቶች እናንት ያን የሰበኩት ለኛ አባቶች ለኛ አባቶች እናንት ያን የሰበኩት Greeting to the people of Europe. Over land and sea, your fathers came to Africa and unpacked Bibles by thousands, filling our ancestors with words of love. If someone slaps your right cheek, let him slap your left cheek too. If someone takes your coat, let him have your trousers too. Now, we, their children's children, inheriting the world your father left behind, our bodies slapped and stripped by our lifetime presidents, our braving sea and leaky boats, cold waves of fear, let salt wind sponge, our faces and your coast guards, pluck us from the water like early birds. But here we are at last to knock at your front door, hoping against hope that you remember all of the lovely words your fathers preached to ours. Thank you.
Thanks, Alemu. It's such a lovely poem. I really loved working on that poem together because it went through quite a few different manifestations and back and forth, and it was a really lovely poem full of pathos to work on. So the rest of the evening, basically, the next part of the evening, we're going to have some of Alemu's friends reading a poem of Alemu's and then maybe a couple of poems of their own. So we're going to start with Jennifer Langer, who's the founding director of Exiled Writers, Inc., and has edited 4 anthologies of exiled literature, including Crossing the Border, Voices of Refugee and Exiled Women Writers, and If Salt Has Memory, Jewish Exiled Writing.
Thank you for that.
Jennifer.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I was very honoured to be asked to say a few words of welcome and to read a couple of Alemu's poems. And I think I first encountered your poetry in Modern Poetry and Translation in maybe 2015. And having procured your contact details from Sasha Dugdale, I invited you to be a speaker at our symposium, which was at SOAS in 2016, and it was called The Danger of Words in an Age of Danger. And then at the end, I think you read your poetry as well. And since then, you've been a guest at, I think, our monthly Exiled Lit Cafe nights. We're here in this very room on the first Monday of the month, for the Exiled Lit Cafe. So, while we can perceive Alemu as a voice of Ethiopia, because I myself don't know very much about Ethiopia and you're the only poet I know, there's a danger of seeing you as sort of representative of all Ethiopians generally, but yours is an individual poetic voice, and it clearly reflects your cynicism about the powerful and their abuse of this power, but it also reflects your personal loss, the loss of your family over there and your country and culture, and the pain, and you express the pain of being controlled almost in exile, of being deprived of a certain kind of freedom. And I think it's wonderful that you now have a first collection in English, which is also accessible to those who want to read in Amharic. That's really nice, a dual language text. So I have 2 poems to read by Alemu. The first is Body Without a Heart. When this body of mine fled my country, it was already half dead. How could it not be? A heart stays put where the umbilical cord, where the umbilical is buried. This heart of mine that calls over the horizon, do not say I am living, do not make me count the years. The next one is called Visa. The chairman in a woolen suit and tie and expensively buffed shoes flourishes his charter for peace and democracy, touts the ethnic fairness of his government. Words like human rights, growth and development slip easily through his lips. He is happy to repeat again the changes ushered in over the years. So generous with talk. Eventually, he throws the meeting open, even if his eye does not like questions, and the first inquiry floats up from one of many young protesters thrown into Bursheleko, a boy whose t-shirt shouts, "Never again," whose legs are plugged in ragged trousers, one shoe smiling through a hole in front, but twisted at the back. His other foot, unshod and swollen, broken by a whip. This boy gets up and says, "Mr. Chairman, I have listened carefully, but with respect, I feel that everything about my life is different to yours. Perhaps I live in another country. Are there 2 Ethiopias? If so, I would like to leave the one where I have been and visit yours. Do you know where I can get a visa? Is there someone with an application form?" A moment's laughter brightens up the hall, but the boy is only tightening his chains. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. It's really interesting. Our next reader, our next performer, reader, is the celebrated dissident poet. We called him the Rebel Angel, in fact, when we launched his book, which was our first Tamrat book, last year in Keats' house in Hampstead. So please welcome Hamatuma.
Good evening, all of you. I've been asked to read 2 poems, I think.
Please.
This is a result of friendship. And Chris's penchant for making me embarrassed all the time. Otherwise, I'm not a good reader of poetry, but I'll try. I met Alemu many years ago, not to mention the time. But we met here in Britain, not in Ethiopia. Because when I left Ethiopia, I think he was a very young boy. And his interest for poetry and his commitment to a cause for our country made us good friends or comrades, and we have been together for many years. He has encouraged me many times to have my poetry published, to read it here and there. In our country, there are poets, real poets who know the language or the languages and write poetry because they feel it deep in their soul. And then there are others like me who do not consider themselves real poets, but who still dabble in the writing books and poems. Alemu Tebeje, the laureate Tebeje, Gamorao passed away also, and Tebeje are real poets because they know Amharic, the main language. They know, I think some of them also know Gilis, and they have learned literature, etc. They are not just they are very serious poets because they write is what they feel. And I find Alemu's poems they resonate with me because they write about things I also care about. And he writes very well in Amharic. He has written a lot of Amharic poems, as you know, many, more than what is shown in here. So I'm very honored that I've been asked to read 2 poems. I think they chose them, say, because of my political stance. The first one is called "Oh, Western Democracy." I praise you, who takes us to Glen Eagles in a warm coach, so we can stage our protest against the butcher of Ethiopia. You drove us by an empty field 2 miles from the hotel, so even though the butcher cannot hear, we are free to hurl our slogans into the wind. Political plurality we shout, human rights we cry. The sun is low and it is rather cold. Policemen stamp their boots, some cross, hear what we say and look surprised. They undertake to carry message into your conference where every big clap laps up the sweetness of your words, jabbing at your short bread promises. I think he wrote this when, was it the EU Africa? Or the G7?
G20.
Yeah, it was in Scotland. So they went by bus to protest, but they took them in a field very far away from the conference area. This shows his anger and bitterness, and it's satirical also. The second poem I'm supposed to read is "To the Tourists." Tourists who travel to Ethiopia, where I left my footprints in the Alps, have something to tell you, just a note to take with you and bring back home. In every town you visit, every village you pass through, think of all the freedom fighters, human rights campaigners, democracy protesters who fought together, died together, and now lie buried underneath your feet. So when you leave your comfortable plane and go into the feast, please tread lightly, slowly, greeting the selfless heroes in my name. They are the country I'm exiled from. These are the 2 poems. Having said that, actually he has been in exile. We have all been in exile for quite some time. But Alemu's poem brings to mind that his art is still there, as he wrote in the other poem, which was right. He feels Ethiopian. He's committed to his country, and there is no thought of leaving the country except the regret of being in exile. You know, as you know, exile is a very long and bitter thing for many of us. So I'm very pleased that this book is out. He's a very modest and shy man. Not as shy as me. So thank you for the program.
Thank you all for listening to this. That's the first half. We're going to have a 15-minute interval. There's a glass of wine upstairs, hopefully already waiting for you. Do please take the opportunity to buy a book and ask Alemu to sign it for you.